What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is Cameron with Cam Photography, based out of Durham, North Carolina. And on today's video, I'm going to tell you about the things that I recognize or realize when getting into photography on the business side of things. I'm not sure how this video is going to come off to some. It might be discouraging for some, it might be realistic to some, but all my personal opinions in this video are my personal experience, and it's not meant to discourage anybody, or it's not meant to turn anybody away from starting their photography business. It's just, in my opinion, some things you should expect when starting your photography business. So with that being said, not gonna hold y'all up too long. Let's jump right into the video. So the first thing that I realized when starting my photography business is that nobody cares. And when I say nobody cares, don't take it in a super literal sense, as if not a single person on the face of the earth is going to care about you starting a photography business. But I mean that more in a general sense, is that typically when people start doing their own thing, the response they get is, oh, good luck. Oh, like, oh, that's cool, you're doing a thing. It's not always, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna support you, like, I got you, whatever. Like, we expect our friends and our family to have our back at all times, and most of the time they do. I know in my personal experience, like, my family and friends have my back, but a lot of times it's just like a thing of, oh, like, good luck. So kind of put into perspective, talk about this. So imagine you just got hired for Google or whatever, and you're making $115,000 a year. People are going to want to throw parties for you. People are going to want to applaud you. They're going to have your back. They're going to be like, yeah, my boy or my homie, my girl, whatever, just got hired for Google, making 6 figures. Like, that's lit. I'm with them. I'm rocking with them. I always knew you had it in you, yada, yada, yada. And the praises will come from everywhere. The praises will be endless. But when you talk about entrepreneurship in photography and say, hey, I'm starting my own photography business, this is what I want to do, this is my passion, yada, yada, it's sometimes met with like oh, good luck. Like, hope it works out for you. You know, there's not a whole lot of backing so I say nobody cares, but nobody cares until they care. So let me make that make sense. When you first start out, obviously you're doing a lot of spending. You've got to buy the camera equipment, you got to buy the gear, you got to buy the subscriptions, you need a way to edit the photos, you need a way to deliver the photos, and you need all these things in place before you start your business. And if you want to go to LLC route, you know, you have to invest in that as well. I'm personally not an LLC right now, but down the road I will be. But I don't know. I spent so much of my money on the gear and stuff, and the stuff I actually like need, that I haven't really dove into that point yet. But typically, a lot of times when people are starting their photography business, they shouldn't really get an LLC as soon as they start, because a lot of times they're going to change something about their business. They're going to change their identity in some way, shape, or form. And when you have the LLC and your name's there, then it's kind of hard to say like, oh, government, never mind, like, I want to change this, and it just adds a lot of stuff. So I probably won't have an LLC till probably a year down the road, once I'm solidified in my identity of what my business is and what I offer and who I offer to, so on and so forth. So when I say nobody cares until they care, is that, you know, in a sense of, you know, a lot of people aren't going to have your back, or they might have your back, but there's not going to be a big shout out, throw party, whatever, because you're starting a business. But once you start booking the clients, and once you start uploading your pictures, once they see that you're putting in time, getting better at this, and once they see you booking like client after client, or if you're a wedding photographer, like wedding after wedding, that's when they'll be like, oh, like, I always knew you had it in you. Like, yeah, shout out to you. I was rocking with you the whole time. But like, they weren't. But you gave them a reason to care, because, you know, you started doing well at this business thing. Now, should we get into a photography business solely for the validation of others? No, I talked about that in my last video. I'll link that card up here. But, you know, we definitely don't want to get into it for the validation of others, because once we do, or if we do, and we don't get the validation that we are looking for, then we're going to be more inclined to walk away from the business and say, okay, this isn't for me. When really you just are looking at the wrong things. Like, you're getting into the business for the wrong reasons. So in my opinion, generally speaking, when I say nobody cares, it's just that, like, you're not gonna have the support that you thought you were going to have going into a photography business. Does that mean not to start one? No, absolutely not. If you want to start one, but just know that it's probably going to be a one-man crew, one-man team. You're going to be your own biggest fan for a while until things pick up. The second thing about starting a photography business is that you are going to have to be okay with working for free. And this is something that is typically understood, but a lot of people are going to be like, well, I don't want to work for free. Like, I'm starting a business. I need my money because I need to fund my business, which I wholeheartedly agree. But the business aspect of things, like before you actually start heavily investing in like the business side of things, you honestly should have already been working for free. So as soon as you bought your camera, as soon as you bought your lens, that's when you start working for free. You start asking people, hey, can I take pictures of you just like whenever? If you want to get into wedding photography, like start doing fake engagement sessions. Like if you grab somebody that's already married, have the husband take his ring off so it looks like they're engaged, and just put them through a bunch of different engagement poses. You can go on Pinterest, you can go on PicTime, go all these places that have inspiration on poses, and then you do these mock engagement sessions, add them to your portfolio, and then for other people, when they come to your website or come to your thing or whatever, or your Instagram, they'll say, oh, like this guy or this girl takes really good pictures. Like I want to book them for a paid session. And that's kind of how it goes. But we have to be okay with working for free. I did a lot of things for free starting out. Like as soon as I bought my camera, I hit up my sister, my brother-in-law, and I was like, yo, I need y'all to come to this place, meet me here, because I want to take pictures. They're like, okay, cool. My sister loves being behind the camera anyway, or in front of the camera anyway, so it wasn't a hard ask. But working for free is going to really build your brand, build your business, and it's going to give you practice editing and doing all the business side of things. Is going to give you practice with contracts. Like you can give contracts and sign contracts on paid stuff, which I highly recommend. Like every session does not have to be paid in order to have a contract. Like you can give contracts for unpaid stuff, because I've seen too many horror stories about, oh, this was free, but they're asking me to do this, and that. And it's like, okay, don't do all that. Like just sign the contract, let it be known, this is what's happening. It's free, but this is how I'm going to operate, because you need to be able to stand your ground. But work for free is a great way to just get your name out there. You can go to random places or around your city and say, hey, I'm a photographer. I just want to do some stuff for free. And, just get my name out there, build my portfolio. Friends and family are going to be your main ones that you're going to want to reach out to do free sessions or free shoots. And whether it be like headshots or whatever, just work for free. Build your portfolio, and then once you build your portfolio, you kind of self-assess where you are. Like I don't recommend going to a bunch of different other people and saying, hey, like, how do you think of this? Because they're going to have a different eye than you have. So if they say they don't like it, they might have a different style than you. So if you're going for one style and they have a different style and they say they don't like it, don't take it as, oh, my work's bad. They just have a different eye than you. Now, if you like it, and then if the pictures that are being delivered to the clients that you have, the free clients that you have, and they say they like it, then that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. But free work is going to be needed. Free work is going to be something that is going to be a necessity to build your brand and build your portfolio, so that you will be able to get a lot of practice, a lot of education under your belt, and then you'll be able to start doing charge sessions. The third thing about starting a photography business, so this has been thrown around a little bit. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's presets. Should you buy or should you not? There's a lot of companies that sell presets. There's other photographers, more well-known photographers, that will sell their presets. Some people buy them, use them on their own work. So the question is, should you buy presets or should you not? Should you make your own presets? And a lot of people are going to say, just create your own. But a lot of times when you're starting a photography business, if you're brand new to photography, you don't know how to edit. Like you don't know what the sliders are really going to do. You don't know how to work the S curve. You don't know about the vignetting and the dehazing and the denoising and the lens corrections, the chromatic aberration. There's a lot of stuff that you won't be familiar with. So to just tell somebody who's brand new to photography to make their own presets, it's kind of telling someone who's never seen water just to swim. Like it doesn't work that way. So I think that presets are great, but just don't go crazy. I think that if you want a specific vibe or style, then look at presets that match that style. and then use those presets as starting blocks. So I don't recommend buying presets and then just slapping them on there and let that be that. Those presets are going to tell you where the highlights are, where the shadows are, where the exposure is, where the contrast is, the S curve. And then you can kind of play with those and then adjust to the way you like it. And then you kind of make that your own. So you can buy a preset. I don't know if this is right or not, but I've bought presets, changed them depending on the way the photo is, kind of made it my own, and then saved it as my own preset. I don't know if that's accepted or not. I don't know if that's right or not, but I've done it and I don't care. I will happily do it again. But when I say don't go crazy with presets, this is what I mean. So this is what I mean. Don't go crazy with buying presets. And shout out to this dog here. I was downtown Raleigh doing a grad shoot and I saw him. He's from Germany. His owner told me, so I took a picture of him, put it in black and white. I thought it looked pretty cool. But anywho, these are my presets here that are on my main page. And when you look at this, you're probably saying this doesn't look too crazy, like you didn't go crazy buying presets. But little do you know, I don't know if anybody told you, but what you see on the outside is not always what's on the inside. So if I go here up to the top to manage presets, look at all these unchecked presets. And all these presets, all these unchecked ones in here have probably either 5 or 15 different presets within them. So if you just do the math on that, that's like, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 presets that are in here that I don't use. And it's like, well, why don't you use them? Because I thought buying presets would make me good at editing, but that's not the case. Buying presets are a good starting block, but if you just buy them just to say, oh, I'm just gonna buy these and be good at editing, like that's not the case. Even if you go into these user presets, these are a bunch of other different presets that I bought that aren't even in cohesion or in the same market or whatever as the managed presets, the unclicked ones that I just showed you. So these are a bunch of other presets that I bought and was just like, oh, these are gonna make me so good at editing. But that's not the case. So you look at all those presets and these are the only ones that made my main page. The main ones I use are my cam presets. These are the ones that I created. And some of these, I mean, less than 30% of these were purchased presets and I just changed them and made them my own. Most of them I made off, like I did them from scratch. I made them. But these are all I use now. And this one, this PNB black, I hardly use these. But they're there just in case I want to make something black and white. This is one of the first presets I've ever purchased. This is the Pierre T. Lambert Antigua preset from Pierre Lambert. He's a great dude. I don't know him personally, but I like his videos. But with that being said, like, don't go crazy on buying presets, but you can look at some that are your own style and make them your own. So when you're looking to buy presets, if that's the way you want to go, just don't do what I did and don't go crazy on buying presets thinking it's going to make you a better editor, because at the end of the day, it's not. And the way you're going to get good at editing is editing yourself, but they can be good starting blocks and then you just go from there. The fourth thing about starting a photography business that you really want to hone in on and really want to do is networking. Now, some people, or maybe most people, don't really know how to network or really what goes into networking. And you just have to collaborate with a lot of people in your area who are also photographers, and collaborating with them is going to give you some extra education. Maybe they'll know something that you don't. You can teach them something that they don't know, or they can teach something that you don't know. And it's just a great way to get your name out there. You can even network with clients. Like, you can go to random people on the street, hand them business cards and say, hey, I'm a photographer. I'm new, but I'd love to network with you. If you have something coming up that you want to be captured, like, I can do that. And I just want to build my portfolio, yada, yada, yada. Networking is huge. One of the biggest things that I did is I really invested in networking heavily, because when I first started, I immediately bought tickets to Imaging USA. That was in Louisville, Kentucky earlier this year. And that was a great way for me to network and meet people. There was probably, I don't know, 20,000. I think that was the number, or 5,000, 10,000. I think it was 10,000. 10,000 photographers there in this one hotel for this one conference, all trying to get all the education they can get. And it was a great way for me to meet people and just figure out different things, and it can allow you to learn more about yourself, your avenue, what route you want to go down in your photography business. Networking is huge, and you never know who you're going to run into. I ran into a couple people who I've been watching. Professor Hines is one of them, and also John Branch for Photography, who actually lives in my city, and he's a big time wedding photographer. So I was able to talk to him, get a picture with him. Hopefully one day I'll be able to sneak into one of his weddings as like a second or third shooter, just to kind of figure out how he operates. That isn't on YouTube. He has a lot of behind the scenes stuff on YouTube, but networking is going to be so big for you and to get your name out there. And who knows, another photographer who might be, maybe they're a branding photographer, but they need a portrait photographer, and they know you're one. They can say, hey, I can recommend you to this other photographer who does portraits. I only do branding, which is kind of the same thing, but you know what I mean. And then that'll be an avenue for you to get more work. So posting on Instagram solely is not going to be enough for networking. Posting on Facebook and telling your friends and to talk to people about you is not going to be enough. That is a way, but it's not going to be enough. You need to be face to face with people, other people in the industry, people who are higher up in the industry. You need to be networking with them in order to get your name out there. And this fifth one is just a freebie. It's not really something that you necessarily need to know for photography business purposes. This is kind of something that I just kind of want to debunk. It's shooting in manual. A lot of photographers will say that you have to shoot in manual if you want to call yourself a professional photographer, when that is absolutely not the case, not even in the slightest. There's so many wedding photographers who are getting paid $7, $8, $9, $10, $15,000 to shoot weddings, and they're shooting on some type of auto. And when I say some type of auto, not full auto, but aperture priority, shutter priority, or something like that. Because these cameras are smart nowadays. They'll be able to kind of talk to the environment, if you will, and know what settings you need. Now, is shooting in manual going to help you as a photographer just learn your camera better? Yeah. And to learn the exposure triangle better? Yeah. I think that you should shoot in manual in order to learn what all goes into the right settings. But if you think that you have to shoot full manual for forever in order to consider yourself a professional, that's not true. That's not true at all. I shoot in manual pretty much all the time. I shoot in manual, but I started out shooting in manual because people were telling me you need to learn how to shoot in manual. So I started shooting in manual, and it got to the point where I got so comfortable with manual, I never tried anything else. So I haven't tried shutter priority, haven't tried aperture priority. Will I one day? Probably, but I just haven't. It was so bad to the point where on my very first photo shoot, when I called my sister, my brother-in-law, I was shooting on full manual. And when I say full manual, even the focus, I was focusing on manual because I was like, oh, this is full manual and this is what I need to be accepted in the photography industry, yada, yada, yada. That's not true. I screwed up so many photos because I was trying to shoot in manual focus when I could have just been shooting in aperture priority or shutter priority and letting the camera do the work. I mean, these cameras are in between $5, $6, $7, and $6,000. You would think that you would think that they would be able to do a little bit when it comes to working for you. So if you're getting into photography business, don't think that you have to shoot in full manual all the time, because that's not the case. A lot of people shoot in some kind of auto, and they get the job done because they know what they're doing, because they know about their compositions and their angles and stuff, and they get the picture right in camera, so they don't have to do they don't have to do hardly anything in post. So that's one thing you want to get done. But to recap, number one, I forgot all these things already. What did I say? Okay. So number one is that nobody's going to care, really. I mean, but it's okay. Just grind, work on your craft. And if you like it and your paying clients like it, that's all that matters. 2, work for free, get your name out there. 3, network. I messed that up. Presets was in there somewhere. I don't know. Just rewind if you need to. All this stuff's in there. All this stuff's in there. But with that being said, this is just my personal take on things that I've learned when getting into the photography business. And if you relate to these things, leave a comment. If you feel discouraged because of this video, don't. Like, please don't. I am rooting for you, and I want you to perfect your craft just like I'm trying to perfect my craft. And even though it might never be perfect, it's going to be proficient, and you're going to get really, really good at it. So keep grinding, keep going. Shout out to all y'all. And if you found value in this video, like and subscribe. And thank you to everybody who is here, all 27 of you, 26, 27 of you. But hey, I'm still going because I'm not doing this for the validation of others. I'm doing this because I love this. And I hope you're doing it because you love it too. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in, and until next time.